Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and get ready for a little NFT discussion. Why is it that we're seeing A, so many NFTs in our newsfeed, and B, why are some totally killing it and others are crashing and burning? So just a reminder, this is just a friends and family edition. There's a lot of self-proclaimed crypto experts out there. The truth of the matter is everyone is still learning. The space is still evolving. And while the technology is there, how it will be used is still really taking shape. So we're going to dive into a little bit of a recap on blockchain. I know that a lot of you heard about that last time from us, and then go deeper onto the NFT side. Here we go. A reminder too that your questions are important. If you're wondering this, chances are that somebody else is as well. So feel free to ask it. You're in a really safe space. Oh, and if you guys can just all mute, or Rick, do you want to help with the muting? That would be great, just so there's no background noise.
Will do.
Thank you. All right, this is not financial advice. Everything in here, I've got to say this, is from the perspective of the research I've been doing, and I'm sharing that freely with you as much as I can. Keep doing your research. There are lots of points of view, and blockchain and NFTs and crypto can mean different things for different people depending on what you want from this. If you're wanting to invest, if you're wanting to build, if you're an artist versus if you're somebody in real estate, it offers different benefits at different times. So you'll need to do things differently as a result. Let's start with the obvious question. Why have so many of us felt left out? When I've been making these posts, I receive a ton of DMs from you all, like, this is crazy, I feel like I'm behind, I don't get it, am I stupid? No, you're not. And it's okay that you don't get it, because you have been left out. In fact, I like to think of it as so many of us have been shut out. You're not imagining it. And it's, comes back to the data. Men have been dominating the NFT art sales, which is why we see such a huge influx of newsfeed headlines like cyborgs coming and Bored Apes and CryptoPunks. It's really been focused in one audience lens, and it's been a very male gaze that has dominated NFTs, and obviously the NFT art sales has been the biggest industry for this right now. And you can see it's 77% of male dominance over just 5% for women. It's been a really small conversation targeted towards an audience outside of that core. So let's start that conversation. Let's go in there. Quick recap on blockchain. So blockchain is being described as Web 3 versus Web 2. So Web 2 was 1999. We were all getting into e-commerce. We were learning how things would change, like online banking and doing your grocery shopping, and even things like dating online. People thought it was crazy to think about the idea that you could meet other people, date and fall in love through something called the internet. Now that's of course how we all live our lives. It's how we're having this communication. It's how we've found each other, through social media and those kinds of platforms that were all a part of Web 2. Web 2 was built on a platform of servers. So companies built a server or used a server to build pages, and those pages they owned, and they dictated how users could interact with their pages. You go in, you log in, you create a profile for something, you can shop for something. The brand owned the exchange and the rules for which you could engage on their server. In Web 3, it's a little bit different. Web 3 is built on blockchain, and there are 3 pillars to blockchain that you really help understand what this is. So first of all, blockchain is not about servers that any one company creates or holds. It is a digital ledger. What does that mean? I'm sure you've seen it, you've heard it. A digital ledger, it truly means every act that is happening in blockchain is recorded, just like a big long receipt. And that code is all written there for everyone to see. You can see every single piece that is happening in blockchain as it happens. So there's 3 parts to blockchain. One, it is decentralized. There is no one server. In fact, it is made up of all these nodes countless nodes that are run by people who have got the hardware, and they are the ones creating and adding to this digital ledger. The nodes operate on a certain voting system, if you will. The contracts are put in place based on votes that everyone agrees to. So it's really this very open source democratic landscape where the best methods and protocols are really taking shape there. And so every action is put onto that ledger, which makes it transparent, complete transparency. Nothing can hide in blockchain. Think about it this way. Right now, from any government, the people pay taxes. The government tells the people and reports back at the end of each year, this is where your tax dollars went. This much went to education, and this went to medical, and this went to defense and public transport and so on. But we have to take their word for that. We believe what we read, or we don't believe it. But it's only what they tell us. In blockchain, it would be completely transparent. Every single person would be able to see where every single dollar was used and spent, and when it was spent, and by who and how. That kind of transparency is game changing across so many industries. Some industries love it, some industries might not so much. That transparency could, make or break them depending on who they are. But that transparency is immutable. So immutable means it cannot be changed, it cannot be altered. So once something is put on the blockchain in that ledger, you can't go back and change it. You can't go back and delete it. You can't duplicate it. You can't alter it. It is there permanently forever. So decentralized, transparent, and immutable.
So you want to fly Saturday?
Oh, thanks, Jen. We're just going to pop you on mute.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so...
All good. I'm glad that somebody is flying Saturday. I hope they have a safe travel plans. So decentralized, transparent, and immutable.
I'm so sorry.
That is the foundation of blockchain. So that's a great now kind of visual, if you can think about that, for NFTs, because NFTs, oh, actually, here's a visual. Blockchain, it is truly like Legos. When you're looking at something on the blockchain, you're looking at those blocks as they are. It's not a replication of it because of that immutable nature. It is the actual block that you're seeing. So on that ledger, I love that Lego came out with this kind of a fun play on what the ledger looks like. It's just this ongoing, never-ending build of blocks on top of each other. So that's a great visual there. If you think now about what is an NFT, NFTs could never be made in e-commerce or in Web 2. NFTs can only be built in blockchain because they rely on those three fundamentals, particularly transparency and immutability. NFTs stands for non-fungible token. Hang on, I've somehow, there we go. Non-fungible token. I know everyone's like, that's super obvious what that is. So let's talk about fungible, the new word that everyone's trying to figure out. Oh, we've got some feedback. If everyone can just put themselves on mute, thank you. Fungible. Fungible means something that can be replicated. So let's just take this shirt that I'm wearing. I'm currently here in Australia. I went to a new a store the other day. I bought this new shirt. It's from Country Road, an Australian designer. Loved it. But there are a lot of these on the rack. There's a lot in different sizes. And I saw maybe 4 of them in my size. Did I care which one of those 4 in my size I pulled off? No. If somebody grabbed one I was going for, would I care that I had to get the one behind it? No. So that's fungible. This is a fungible good. There's lots of these shirts out there. If I took this to the dry cleaner and they ruined it and the dry cleaner offered to get me a new one, that's totally fine. I'm not attached to this particular shirt. I like the look of this and I want this shirt. It's okay if I get another one. But non-fungible means it can't be replaced. So I have 2 phones. This is my Australian phone. This is my US phone. They both have access to different things that I need to use each day. My US accounts, my Australian accounts, my US contacts, my Australian contacts, different emails, different apps. If I just lost this one, I would be pretty upset because this one can't replace that. These are non-fungible. I can't just pick up any phone and do what I want to do on it, I need a different phone for different things. So that's non-fungible. These are irreplaceable. Even if I lost this, I would not be able to just get somebody else's Australian phone. Theirs wouldn't be able to do the same things that mine does. So non-fungible, can't replace them. And token, well, these are not tokens, these are tangible goods. So these are non-fungible tangibles, but a non-fungible token is something that is digitized. And so that's what an NFT is. It's a digital version of something that is non-fungible. So you can't easily exchange it. It only has value to the owner, and somebody else can't just give you a different NFT to replace the one that they took of yours. So a great way to think about it is it's a box covered in cement. It only opens in your hands. Just like in the non-fungible tangible, this only opens in my hands with my thumbprint. NFT, the non-fungible token, only opens for the true owner. It's only in your wallet. So while people can see it, and you can certainly screen grab it and show people what it is, its true benefits only unlock themselves to you, the owner. It proves you are the owner and your authenticity by having that NFT in your wallet. So what does that mean? Why do you want to have an NFT in your wallet? Well, NFTs right now, and this is the headlines we're all seeing, really prove your social clout. If you guys were watching what was happening in Miami Art Basel, for example, last week, there are a ton of great parties. There are always parties there, and you can buy a ticket, or you can try to say that you know the artist, you know the bouncer, you know somebody to get in. NFTs kind of changed the game because these NFT collections hosted parties, and only if you're an NFT holder could you go to this party. So that's cool. That's giving you social clout to go to an event. But it's even more than that now. Now it's all about who you are as a person. People are identifying themselves as an NFT holder of a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk or a Punked Pickle or a Minion or a CryptoKitty. You name it. There's a thing for everyone, and it's becoming a real identifier. And NFTs will be what we use to prove who you are when you're dating, when you're making friends, when you're getting a job, the parties and the events you go to, even how you shop. Brands will be doing drops only for NFT holders of certain kinds of collections. Nike is doing that, Prada is doing that, sports teams are doing that. You only get access to certain things if you're an NFT holder of certain collections. So this social clout is already in full swing, and we're only going to see more of that as we keep going. One example I'm going to be talking about here today is World of Women. I, of course, want to support a lot of the female initiatives. So this is one that I follow. They were one of the early ones in the space of NFTs that were really focused on messaging women. So let's talk about what NFTs, which NFT collections are doing a good job. What are things to look for when you are researching NFT campaigns and collections? So World of Women, they did 10,000 randomly generated NFTs. Each one is a different look of a woman. So you can see here different characters. It sold out very quickly. They were very clear with their collection, who the artist is, what the kind of art would look like, so that you would have a chance to see and choose one that resonated to you. But they were also very clear about what it means to own one. There's a lot of NFT projects out there just saying, hey, quick, they're going to sell out. There's a lot of hype, but for what? They've been very clear about how you'll benefit with royalties, how you may get access to prints, but also the give back. The give back of organizations. They partner with 3 different charities, and a percentage of sales from every NFT goes back to these charities. They put a real face to their community. So they're connecting their community. They are making sure that everyone can see that there are people behind this program, from the artist herself to the celebrities who follow, to the actual holders who are just people like you and I. And then they bring them together through Discord, they bring them together through Instagram, and they bring them together through events. They've had events in New York and in Miami recently. It's become such a strong community that you see here in the top left. Some of their WoW, they call them WoW holders, are dressing as their character. The woman in all blue, and on the top right, there's someone in kind of a green strapless leaf dress. That's another artistic representation from their collection. So you can really identify which NFTs are legitimate based on how many touch points they're creating with you to welcome you into their community, to share what the perks of ownership are, if they have a foundation or a cause they're promoting and supporting, and then of course in real life. NFTs are great, but they also have to have an in real life benefit for you to feel like you're really getting value from this. Great, so you're like, yes, I'm in. I want to buy an NFT. What do you do? First thing you need to do is you need to open an account on a cryptocurrency exchange. The two most popular, well-known ones are Coinbase or Binance. There are dozens more. I've just put those two examples here. They're the most widely used. Coinbase is actually a publicly traded company now on the stock exchange. And they are the easiest ones to connect to your bank account. And they offer the most widely used tokens like Ethereum and Bitcoin. So NFTs are usually bought and sold with Ethereum. There are some other Ethereum derivatives, but for the most part, we'll talk just about Ethereum. So once you've opened an exchange, it's very simple. You go to coinbase.com, for example, you type in your email, you create a password and a login, just like you would for any bank account. You then connect your bank account of choice to Coinbase, and you decide, I'm going to spend $100 and purchase some Ethereum. And based on what the value of Ethereum is that day, that's how much Ethereum you get. So Ethereum right now is trading at anywhere between $4,000 and $4,500. So for $100, you're going to get 0.0000001 of an Ethereum, and that's okay. That's value, and every little bit of investment into this space, as we're seeing, does seem to grow. If you had invested in Bitcoin 12 years ago when they started, it has grown over 1,000,000%. And to give some context, Apple in its life history has grown over 1,000%. So cryptocurrencies are here to stay. You do need a strong stomach. They fluctuate like crazy. In traditional stocks, we see usually a trajectory that's kind of flowing up. With cryptos, it can be very spiky. But over the course of the past decade, we're seeing that the big players do, in fact, continue to gain value despite some of the spiky dips and twists. So great, you've got your Coinbase account. Now you need to create a digital wallet. Digital wallet is different, but the same. I'll tell you why. So Coinbase has a wallet, but it is different from Coinbase.com. Other wallets are MetaMask is a very popular one. Now, the digital wallet is something that you keep for yourself. You may have heard people talk about a seed phrase or a key phrase and how you don't want to give this to anyone else. That is very important, and I can't say it loudly enough or more emphatically enough. Your seed phrase will be generated when you open your first wallet. So let's say with Coinbase, you've got your Coinbase.com account. Now on your phone, you're downloading a Coinbase wallet. It is separate from your Coinbase account. It will generate a 12-word seed phrase. That seed phrase is your unique identifier to your wallet. So imagine now that Lego piece. You've created a Lego piece in the blockchain, and that seed phrase is the identifier. It's what you would use to go and find your wallet in this long ledger that is blockchain for where your assets are stored. If you lose your seed phrase, you can never get it again. There's no customer service number of blockchain to call and go back through the ledger and find, oh, this is the day and time that you opened your wallet. Here's your seed phrase. It is unique. It's issued once. You need to record it, store it somewhere very safe. Do not share it with anybody. If anybody gets your seed phrase, they now have full access to your wallet. So your wallet is important for the reason that you want to store your NFTs or cryptocurrencies in that wallet to keep it safe. For that very reason that it's secure and hard to find if you lose it, it's also secure from other people so that it can't be hacked. A lot of systems can be hacked. Your wallet can't be hacked. It could only be stolen if you give away your seed phrase. So keep that seed phrase really, really top secret, but accessible to you so that you know where to find it when you need it. And then of course, a marketplace. So you've got your cryptocurrency, you've got your wallet ready to go, you've stored your seed phrase, it's safe in like a cave that you've built in the side of a mountain that no one else knows the coordinates to. And now you're ready to go and buy your first NFT. The most popular places are marketplaces like OpenSea, Foundation, Nifty, and Rarible. And that's where a lot of these artists are launching and dropping their collections. So let's take a look at what those marketplaces look like. This is World of Women on OpenSea. Here's what to expect when you go onto OpenSea. You're going to see some terms like floor price. So floor price that's the lowest price that you can purchase a World of Women NFT today. And that little symbol that you see that looks like a little diamond in gray is the symbol for Ethereum. So right now, the cheapest World of Women NFT you can purchase is for 1.876 Ethereum. So that's hovering just around, call it $7,500 US. The volume traded is 25,000 Ethereum. That's the total number of sales this collection has had. The owners you see is 4,600 owners. That's how many people are currently holding a World of Women NFT. And the total number of NFTs that World of Women have issued is 10,000. So 10,000 have been issued. There's 4,500 owners, which tells you that most of the owners are holding, 2 or 3 of these NFTs. And wow, these prices have really skyrocketed. They are at $7,000, not the cheapest NFT to dive into. So you're curious, you want to learn more about this. Well, we can see what the current activity is. We talked about that ledger in blockchain, total transparency. We can see up to the minute, 33 minutes ago, somebody purchased World of Women number 5241 for $7,700. We see that 2 hours ago, somebody purchased one for 9.99 Ethereum, which is over $41,000. And that was for woman 4694. And we can also see who purchased it and who sold it. So in these columns here, if you expanded it on the site, you can actually click into those blue links and see who Q is and who Crypt such and such is. And you can see what other NFTs they hold in their wallet. Doesn't mean you can take them, doesn't mean anything other than just you can see what's in their wallet. Just like you can see my cell phones, you can't have access to them. Same thing here. You can see in their wallet, but you can't do anything to it, take it, or anything. But let's say you're now like, okay, World of Women was great. My budget is not 7,000. I'm going to spend maybe 1,000 or 2,000. And by the way, for the record, there are plenty of NFTs that are, $40 or $100. You don't need to spend this much. I'm just using this as an example because I want to support and promote some of the great female-led causes. Women Rise is another one. So Women Rise launched recently, and we can see that this one here is for sale for 0.4 of Ethereum, which is about $1,600 US. It's currently owned by SuperKitty, and apparently SuperKitty is happy to sell it for this price. But what is making this one worth that much? Because when I looked at the Women Rise list, they were all different prices. What made this 1.4 Ethereum, and there are others that might be a little bit less? Well, on OpenSea, you can click into this tab called Properties, and we can see how rare this one is. So different pictures, different NFTs have different rare qualities. And what's making this one really valuable is the background. You can see that less than 1% have this background that they call Rise and Night. They do have some other rare qualities like the eye makeup and the body type of the orange suit. But what's really driving this higher price is that less than 1% quality of the background. You can see that 13% of every NFT in this collection have dark green eyes. You can see that 7% have the royal red lips. So it just helps you get familiar with the kind of NFT that you might want to buy based on its rare qualities. You don't need to always buy an NFT just if it's super rare. You may just buy it because you like it. Maybe you were in the NASA program. Maybe you just happen to love this colorway. This is still art. It's still something that you want to feel good about. You can be attached to this just as you would any real piece of art and want to buy it just because you like it for what it is. But it's always good just to know what the properties are as well in terms of the rare features. So on this one, let's take a look at how this has been trending. So we can see here that it was minted 4 months ago by Bucks for Life _99. So Bucks minted this NFT. All right, that was pretty cool. And then Bucks soon after sold it for 0.07 ETH to Fred OC. Wow, okay, Fred OC then pretty quickly went and sold it for 0.31 ETH to somebody named username not found. That's actually somebody's name. That's not an error. Somebody has named themselves username not found. So Fred OC made a nice little profit there pretty quickly. And if we kept scrolling through this, you would see that username not found sold it to SuperKitty, who is now selling it for 0.4 ETH. So those kinds of values are also just good to see as you're making purchases. What is the trajectory? Is this an NFT that is getting more popular? Is it now being sold for less than it was last time? Again, the transparency of every transaction is available when you're in OpenSea. Okay, so those are some examples of NFTs that are doing well. World of Women, Women Rise, they've built a community, they're supporting local artists, independent artists, and the value of the NFTs are going up. What happened to Kate Moss? I love Kate Moss. Everyone seems to love Kate Moss. She has multi-million-dollar deals with big brands like Burberry and Chanel and Dior. We've seen her on the catwalk, we've seen her in the magazines, we see her all over, the tabloids. That might be the problem. When Kate launched her NFTs, she launched these 3 earlier this year. They were pictures and short, 3-4 second clips of her waking up in bed, walking through a field, and driving. There's no scarcity to that. We've seen Kate in a lot of these scenarios before. If you wanted to look for a picture of Kate driving, there's a lot of images that come up. So why is this one being as an NFT worth more? It's not really. And so when you look at the history of these 3 NFTs, they launched, they sat there for a long time, and they've been purchased back by her sponsors. I think one of them may have been sold to a collector, but there's been no traction or movement since. There's no community around it. There's no initiative behind it. There's no real world benefit that comes from this other than just if you happen to be someone who loves Kate and you just particularly wanted this piece of art. If you want this picture of Kate driving and not a picture of Kate driving from other campaigns that she's done with Fendi or Burberry or any other sponsored brand that she's worked with. So celebrity NFTs have kind of entered a bit of a rough spot where in media, they're used to a picture of them being worth something. As an NFT, it's a little bit different. And it's often seen as a bit of a cash grab. Just by having a picture of me, a celebrity's face, does not make it valuable. The scarcity is important, and that cash grab is not received by the public, or it's not being received by the public very well. It needs to have something tied to it. Let's look at 2 side-by-side examples. We've got Ellen on the left. She's doing something we just talked about. She's created a scarce NFT. She drew that picture. There's only one. And she took a photo of it. And that's her NFT. On the other side, we have Gary Vaynerchuk. And Gary V has done the same thing. He drew a picture of a passionate parrot. In fact, he did a lot more than just the passionate parrot. He did thousands of these Sharpie drawings, just like this. Now, one of these did really well and one of them didn't. I'm going to guess you guys probably know whose was a big success and whose was not. Unfortunately for Ellen, not a huge success, but for Gary V and what he created as VFriends, it has gone on to become a $458 million success. That is the volume of NFT trades that has taken place in just a few short months since he has created these animal VFriend drawings and put them on OpenSea as NFTs. What has made these valuable, it's not that that picture of a panda is so incredible or that little ant that you see there is something so must have, but it's about being a part of a community. So when he launched these NFTs, he brought people together. He united what he always does as Gary V under the Gary V brand, a community of people who are go-getters, who are supporters, who are builders, entrepreneurs, innovators, and people wanted to identify as that. So when these NFTs launched, they were excited to be the passionate parrot, the hungry hippo, the happy panda. They wanted to identify themselves in that community, and the NFT allowed them to do that with proof of ownership that I am that little monkey or tiger or snake or whatever it is. And then he took it one step further. So this headline came across, I'm not sure if you've seen it. How did Gary Vaynerchuk sell 1 million books in 24 hours? That's extraordinary. That has never been done before, and it happened. And the answer was NFTs. Gary launched his newest book called 12 and a Half, and he did it in a very unique way. He announced that for every 12 copies that were sold, he would then give away an NFT. So people swarmed the pre-order and started purchasing 12, 24, 48 copies of his book. And for every 12 that was sold, they would receive one of these VFriends NFTs, which were already proven to have value. And then what happened, people who purchased all those books started giving them to others and became his ambassadors, his evangelists, his Gary VFriends army to spread the good word of what 12 and a half is. And so his message in his book grew just as quickly as the value of the VFriends NFTs. And he assembled his army, his VFriends, to go and do that work for him and to share the message of what his book was promoting. A brilliant campaign, and it shows, I think, a gold standard of what NFTs can do to really unite people in the real world. This doesn't just have to be something that exists in a metaverse, in a far off digital land. This is changing people's real world lives and real world interactions. People became friends through Discord and through Instagram by identifying themselves as a VFriend. And it became a very positive place for people to want to be a part of. And as a result, those VFriend NFTs have only gained even more value. So today, if you want to buy a VFriend NFT, it's worth even more. And that kind of value will continue to grow as the community grows. I'm going to give you a chance to screen grab some resources. I left in some resources from the last session we did. I've added in a few more under podcasts. Of course, NFTs for newbies is great, really easy listening to just dive in, peel back the layers. I do think it helps to hear a few different people describe it a few different ways so that the light bulb will go off for you as to how NFTs might be most relevant to you in your business or world or as a collector. I've added in here Crypto Casey. I've now become absolutely obsessed with Crypto Casey. I think she breaks it down in such a wonderfully friendly academic way. She's like, if your best friend was a developer, she gives you the insides of what's happening, as well as some really easy, relatable examples for what that could mean in our day-to-day lives. Definitely keep scanning your LinkedIn. Type in blockchain, NFT, or Web3 into the search bar. See who comes up. I think you'll be surprised who you know is working in this space or is studying in the space, and connect with them. Ask them questions, share resources, and tag them in articles. Everyone needs a crypto buddy or an NFT buddy. Connect, there's lots of events in every single city. So many events are happening. And just follow. Really get into your own platforms, whether it's Twitter or on Instagram. Follow some of the exchanges for news. follow some of the influencers who are really sharing behind the scenes as they're going to these crypto and NFT events. I've got some of their names here, like Swan Sit, Nick B is a great one, Randy Zuckerberg, of course. And then there's some great journalists. Kathy Hackle is a really celebrated, notable journalist and author in the space. Upticks is a new one I've discovered recently. They're providing a lot of great information about what's happening in the data. You know, that first slide I shared with you about the male-female split of NFT sales I got from Upticks, and they have a lot more information there. And some female NFTs to support. You know I love World of Women. NFT Women and Weapons is another great one. Women Rise just launched recently. Rebel Society is a hot tip that somebody shared with me. They've just started releasing NFTs, and I think that they have a really great story behind what they're doing. It's all about the women who have been overlooked before. You know, we've been overlooked for promotions, overlooked in social circles, overlooked at the corporate, you know, table, overlooked in the entertainment industry. So the Rebel Society is really giving a voice through an artistic platform to women and people of color who have been, you know, overlooked in our history. And Broke Girls NFT, I've posted about them as well. It's a really small collection, but again, I think a great example where they've created a really strong, small community. She's really putting her own unique lens on an NFT collection for herself. And there's so many more. I'll keep adding to this list. I'll keep sharing. So I'm going to pause there and give us all a chance to have some questions. I know that was a lot to absorb. Thank you for listening. I will stop the share now. And feel free to unmute, or it doesn't want me to stop sharing. Feel free to unmute and you can ask me a question while I figure out how to stop sharing. There we go.
This may be a silly question, but when somebody creates an NFT, how does it gain value? Just by popularity, or is there an investment that goes into putting the NFT out there?
Yes. So gaining value, you've got to create that hype. And there's a difference between hype that is real and hype that is kind of a smoke and screen, if you will. You want to create a hype that is built on community. Why do people want to follow you? Why do people want this NFT? Why do you exist? Is there a mission or a vision-led initiative? Are you supporting artists? Are you supporting a cause? You don't always have to support something, but the why you exist is important, and you need to communicate that very openly to people. You also need to share a roadmap. If you're launching, let's say 1,000 NFTs, what happens when you launch the first 100? What happens when you launch the second 100, and so on? Will you be launching merch? Will you be hosting an event? Will you be giving back royalties to certain holders? You've got to really communicate why people should purchase this NFT versus a different one. If it's just for the art, that's a different discussion, but it really comes back to what is in it for me, the NFT holder, that you have to convey.
Can I
Oh, go ahead, Kimberly.
Can I just ask this? I mean, I understand all of that with merchandising and charities and communities, but now there's NFTs that are selling parcels of land in the metaverse, and you need your parcel of land. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't keep up with this. What is the land use, and what, like, people are going to want to come to your land and they pay you? I don't understand it.
Yep, so the metaverse is a totally different space. A lot of brands we've seen are buying space in the metaverse. You know, Adidas has got a space. I mean, almost every brand. Tesla has a big space. What they're basically getting ready for is, in that metaverse, they're going to create experiences. So as AR and VR really kind of match and become more mainstream, they're going to create these digital experiences for you to come into, and it's going to be housed in those virtual metaverse blocks of land.
So do we want to buy these NFTs that come with a piece of land, or they're getting dropped a piece of land? Is that what we want, or is that not, maybe it won't work out and then we spent too much money? And I don't. I'm not sure if I want an NFT with a piece of land. I can't tell.
It's a really good question. It really comes back to the why. Are you planning on doing something with that? Do you have a brand or a business that could be useful to have a digital real estate stake to invite your consumer into? Versus if you're trying to buy land and hold it and in the hopes that you could future sell it to another brand, that's a different strategy. So I think you've got to understand what's your goal, and then depending on either end, which one is the right one for you to buy. You know, there's a lot of different metaverses you can purchase land in. One to invest and hold versus one that you want to build in today would be very different.
Thank you.
Yes, good question though, because it is pretty, it's very wild, the new spaces.
I will say, just to piggyback on that, if you're interested in how like NFTs and the metaverses might work together, I think a really interesting movie to watch that came out is called Ready Player One. And that to me is almost like a candy store of the opportunity that may exist of the combination of NFTs and metaverse, and why and how people might be able to monetize land in one versus another, whether it's by charging you access to that piece of land or whatever they build on that piece of land, or by selling items within it, or by having art shows where they hang their NFTs. Like, it's a whole thing. But watch Ready Player One, maybe with something to drink, and your mind will go crazy. But Michelle, the question I had for you was, you're talking about rarity a bit, and I'm curious if, like, it seems as though a lot of the value that an NFT holder may get from purchasing an NFT is sort of this additional value, whether it's like you get airdrop tokens after the fact, you get the value of like contributing to a mission of sorts or access to a community. Like, if those things seem to be part of the value, how then do you think about rarity, and why might rarity be important? And specifically, how do you think about rarity when considering which NFT to purchase out of a collection?
Great question. You're right. So as a baseline, just having ownership in an NFT, forget how rare it is, does give you access to, as you said, those airdropped NFTs, parties, events, and things like that. The rarity can really, it's kind of you're betting on yourself and betting on the campaign, on the collection, that they're going to do other things. So a good example is CryptoPunks. They've now signed with CAA. And so if CAA is now brokering deals with a movie or a book or a TV ad, and a CryptoPunk is featured in that, the owner of that CryptoPunk will get royalties from the talent of their CryptoPunk being used. So the idea being that if you have a more rare one, perhaps yours becomes a more famous avatar in the future. So there's a lot of extensions. It is. It's pretty crazy. There's one that I was talking to that they're launching later next year, and they're bringing out a whole avatar series, which is actually going to join Kimberly and Tara, your questions together. They're building a metaverse so that stage one, you buy the NFT, you choose who your avatar, your PFP. And then the more rare ones that become higher in value will have avatars built to go and live and create and exist in this metaverse, which then go and get proactive brand sponsorships. So now imagine your avatar, number 3742, is getting sponsored by your favorite brands, or is going to be featured in an ad on a billboard in the metaverse. And
Kimberly and I are just shaking our heads. We're like, what?
You can become your own talent manager of your NFT avatars. And you can be putting them to work every day as they hustle the streets of the metaverse, working, being an influencer, connecting, going to parties, wearing digital assets that are being gifted or sponsored to you, and you're making actual income from your avatar. So direct to consumer was Web 2, direct to avatar is very much Web 3. It's kind of mind-bending.
So do you just want to buy every NFT that you think could potentially,
Of course, but I have to be judicious. I unfortunately don't have just money growing off of this tree behind me. So I still have to do my research. And there's a lot of shady hype built up smoke and screen NFT projects. So for me, I'm really going deep into the community, because if there's a community behind it, it's real, and the community will build the value, and the brands, the initiatives, the technology will follow.
Agreed. I think one of the biggest things too is getting on Discord. And Discord, for those who are not a part of it yet, it is a new world. And yes, when you're used to certain social media, social networks, this is nothing like any of that. If anyone's been on Reddit, this might be a little more familiar to you, but
Yes.
it is kind of mind bending, and going on Discord and seeing what is real, what is fake. It's a little crazy, but I've jumped on kind of with both feet and have been looking and been in a bunch of different servers, and gotten out of a bunch of servers, and you have to start blocking things, and you start getting fake accounts. So this is like it's such a roller coaster of trying to figure all this out, and you will go in a rabbit hole. But it's really cool. And yeah, to your point, it's like when Kimberly just said, oh, you want to buy all the NFTs, and it's like, yeah, they all look cool, and yeah, this was really cool, and I want this. But yeah, you have to pick and choose, and you have to get whitelisted, which is a whole different thing now, because now you have to be picked to get the opening bids on things. And then they have like the opening the open air buys, if you will, which is like 3 times as much opening cost. It's just so weird. But yeah, I would definitely say for those who are very interested in NFTs, just jump on Discord, start following some things, especially just some of the things that Michelle picked out. You can get on all their servers and lists and start checking out all their stuff. And the communities are great. They really are.
KJ, thank you. I totally agree. I think Discord is really important to bring up here, because Discord and NFTs are going hand in hand. In some communities, Discord is really negative. And if you find yourself in one of those communities, just feel free to leave. You do not have to be subjected to that kind of, can be very toxic culture that grows there. There are plenty of Discord communities that are very positive, very welcoming. And I'm going to tell you, those are always the ones that succeed. It's just, you can almost use that research of the toxicity to identify ones that you don't want to be a part of and save your money and your time. So Discord is great. It's also really, it can be full of links that are spammy and scammy. So just be very careful. I tried very hard not to tap any link. If there's a link that looks like it's coming from the owner of the channel, I often will just type it into my computer versus clicking it onto my phone. I want to be hypersensitive to the scams that are out there. I think it's going to clean up and get better, but it's going to take a while. I think also the idea of wanting to get in early, there's a good question here in the chat. Cassie, you asked, what's the difference between minting an NFT versus purchasing one directly when it's on OpenSea?
Yeah, I noticed, Michelle, that, the broke girls, like, you can purchase it just from OpenSea directly from the person who created it, versus like Rebel Society or Women Rise, you have to purchase the minting first. Mm-hmm. Is there one that you should try to do more, or I don't know?
It really varies. If you mint the NFT yourself, you will regain some of the residual value in the secondary sales. So when you mint
can you go and sell it anywhere on OpenSea or other platforms?
You can sell it on, they're all sold through a marketplace. So you can transfer it to your wallet and transfer it somewhere else. But if you buy it on OpenSea, it's set up to make it easy for you to sell it on OpenSea. I would really not recommend doing any kind of off-market sales. That's when a lot of scams can happen, in terms of if someone's DMing you, for example, like, hey, I see this NFT in your wallet. If you sell it to me for this, I'll send you this much crypto. Please don't do that. Of course, I think you know what's going to happen. You're going to send them the asset and they're not going to send you the crypto. So you've then lost that asset and you can't get it back. So please use a marketplace that is trusted if you are going to be selling any of your NFTs.
So that's actually one of my questions was, are NFT, like, first of all, I am a total Luddite, and I am, this is like beyond everything for me, but I'm trying to think of, like, in the future, like, I'm thinking like maybe concert tickets are going to become
they absolutely will.
So,
yes.
But all of this screams like exclusivity to me. And I'm wondering if, like, can you sell an NFT for nothing? Like if you want to just give it to somebody or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you absolutely can. You can transfer NFTs for free. There's a lot of people, like brands will do that already. They'll airdrop NFTs into your wallets. So it doesn't always have to be at a cost.
Okay. And then the other comment I have is that I'm getting total visions of Pokemon cards.
Yes.
This one's rare, and this one's got this rarity, and this one's got this rarity, and it's totally cracking me up.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's so, you know, it's funny. There's a lot of discussion about like, have we ever really grown out of Pokemon cards? And the answer is no. Like in some ways we've always, you know, the designer it bags of, you know, the early 2000s. I mean, remember even go back to denim days. I'm going to age myself here, but like you knew if somebody was wearing those 7 jeans in the year 2002, like you knew if they were 7s or if they were Levi's, and that was an important distinguishing feature. We've always, as humans, had this curiosity to have scarce things that are hard to find, experiences that not anyone else can get. And NFTs have almost just put structure around it and created this platform that formalizes our innate human desire for scarce, hard to find things that now you can publicly show off and more easily get benefits for. I just had this great, somebody here, KJ, thank you for cryptocoven.xyz. It's making me think that maybe we could do an event and go through some of these initiatives. Like let's go through some NFTs and just see what's the value of some of them. You know, what are the benefits? What's the value? Have a more open group discussion about what are some NFT projects that you're seeing and maybe liking or maybe have questions about.
Oh yeah, because I just bought.
Takes a crew to filter it out.
Totally, there's too much out there. But I just bought 3 Matrix NFTs. That was a pretty hot drop. It got so large that people were online trying to mint their NFTs for almost 36 hours. Their servers broke down like 3 times. It was insane. But it's really cool. Initiative's really cool. And on December 16th, your avatar will be able to take either a red pill or a blue pill, and then you'll be able to go down into the matrix, and some people will have certain things that'll change. So, you know, the rarity will be like, all right, well, you get sunglasses and a leather jacket, and this person gets whatever, nunchucks, you know, something like that. So it's really, really cool. And then you get you can get things from the movie, and you can get props, and you might be invited to a after party. It's really cool. It's really cool.
It is. Tara, you asked a good question here with minting. You don't get to choose which one you get. That's correct. So if you do a drop, if it's an artist who's got a 10,000 drop and you want to be part of the mint, all the prices are set, you know, 0.05 ETH or whatever it is. And that way you're minting, you know, you might be able to mint a few, but you won't know which one it is. It's kind of the first even playing field as a point of entry. But then once they're revealed, people are pretty quick to see which ones have more perceived value on the rare features, and then they start trading accordingly.
Can you just have what that means? Like you have to mint it yourself? I thought they were minting meant creating them, but this is like an airdrop where you get one because you've signed up for the whitelist. Is that correct? You've signed up, you get one, and then you mint it yourself?
So minting is just a process that means it's now being minted on the blockchain. So it's an asset that exists, that the artist has created these pictures or the digital assets, but they're not on the blockchain until they're minted on the blockchain. And so that like code is put into the ledger. That's what minting refers to. So what they can do is the artist may decide to mint them all themselves and be like, hey, they're all available for purchase on OpenSea, and they can change the pricing and manage that. The artist owns everything. Or they can make it a public mint, which is what Women Rise are doing. And they can say, hey, we have all the assets here. You can't see which asset you're getting, but you'll blindly get like one, JPEG, if you will, and you're going to mint it. And then once it's minted, it will reveal like, oh, that's the picture you got. That's the one.
And does it cost money for you to mint it?
Yes, there's usually, depending on which protocol they're using, whether it's Polygon or Ethereum, that can vary. But it's usually a lot cheaper. It's not as much as when you're buying it in the marketplace.
So if it's Polygon, do you need to have like Matic? Do you need, okay. And
Yeah,
a lot,
exactly.
a little bit, a lot, do you know?
Depends. I mean, they usually announce what they're going to be opening at. So they usually, when they're being minted, 0.00 something an ETH or WETH. So it's usually the best way to get in if you're going to be using this as an investment. It's the cheapest.
So Michelle,
when you get in.
When you decide to mint it and you do it on like their website, I'm looking at the Rebel Society website. Once I click through that, it will like be on OpenSea. I guess I'm confused how it gets from you minting it to someone else being able to buy it.
Yep. Once you've minted it, you own it. It's in your wallet. And then and it's there in your profile on OpenSea. And then when you're going into OpenSea, you can decide if you're going to keep it, if you're going to move it to a different wallet, or if you want to list it back for sale. And you can decide to do two things to sell it on OpenSea. You can set a price, like I'm going to sell this for 1 ETH, or you can accept bids. And then you see what kind of bids you get. And then that bid is open for, I think it's like 6 months. And so you can see which bids get put in, and then you can decide to reject or accept bids as they come in. Aaron, you have a good question here about, aside from wanting something special, are people using NFTs as investments? If so, does it give you more Ethereum, or can you cash out? Yes, lots of people are using NFTs as investments, and they're speculating on these kinds of projects, which is why they want to get into minting or be one of the first buyers. They want to get into minting because they're going to constantly receive secondary royalties. If they miss minting, they want to get in early and get those rarer ones at a lower price. And then in a few weeks, hope the community builds, hope the hype builds, and then they flip it and sell it. And that's a lot of what's happening. So in the example where you see so much has been traded, that's all the secondary market of people buying other people's NFTs. And a lot of people have only, had them for a week or two and then sell them, flip them. And then on OpenSea, when you've got that Ethereum from the sale in your wallet, you can transfer that back to your exchange in Coinbase or Binance, and then you can cash out back into US dollars into your account.
I wanted to mention one thing that just sort of occurred to me while we were talking about how you might be able to like be the manager of your NFT or something. I suppose like if your NFT is going to be an avatar that goes around and, does things for you or on your behalf, or you can lease it out to someone else or whatever. I just am wondering from an investment perspective or a rarity perspective, whether the background color actually matters or whether it will matter in the future. If the idea is that the skin or like whatever the avatar is what will be most valuable. So that's just a thought, something to ponder when you're thinking which ones to purchase. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I don't think it's been mentioned anywhere in here, are gas fees. Michelle, can you talk about gas fees?
Yes.
And how can you lower them? They're so high.
Tara, I'm very angry at gas fees. I feel
Me
like
too.
I have a therapist to just talk about my anger of gas fees. But the good news is you're not alone. We are all angry at gas fees together. So gas fees are, so right now, it's a very busy time on the blockchain, and minting everything takes man and woman power to do it. You need these miners, people to do it. They're buying hardware and having these crazy, very hot systems and servers as they mint and add things and work on the blockchain to add things to the ledger. It takes money to get people to do that. So they are essentially mining when they are agreeing to do something. So if Tara, I'm selling you one of my NFTs on OpenSea and you want to buy it, the miners out there set a price for what they're willing basically confirm that transaction for on the blockchain. And it varies. If it's really slow, it might cost $30. But if it's really, really busy time and there's a lot of traffic of people wanting to mint and put things on the blockchain, those gas fees can be hundreds of dollars. I've seen it as high as $270, $300. And so then you would agree or disagree with that and say, you know what, I'm not going to mint it right now. I'm not going to transfer this. The gas fees are too high. The problem is you just never know when the gas fees go down. I've tried to do different transactions at 6 o'clock in the morning, at midnight, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know that there is an answer. It's just keep trying. Yes, that's exactly it. Minting, and that's where it really does sting. When the cost of an NFT is $100, but the gas fee is more. It's
it happened with I think it was Women Rise, because I think I saw it on your Instagram and I was like, well, Michelle seems to know what's up with these like female-led projects. Let me look into this one. And so I did, and I went to purchase it and I was like, mother trucker, like what? This is insane. And for a good project, it's probably worth it. But like, it's just it's so crazy to see, because my world is like the stock market. So it's so crazy to see how commissions have just like been completely compressed to zero. Yet in this like new world, the commissions are so incredibly high because it has to be logged in the ledger and there have to be companies or people that are doing that. So just wanted to make that, make sure everybody was aware that it's not just the price of the thing you're paying. There's also transaction fees associated with it.
It is a great way to think about it. I'm glad you brought it up. It's like surge fees for Uber. Remember 9 years ago, if it was a rainy day and you wanted to take an Uber home from the office, it was a 7x, maybe more for that surge. That's really, I think, leveled out to a place that we don't really see that surge pricing anymore. And I think the economies of scale, improvements in the operations in the back end will take shape. Different protocols, Ethereum's come out with different, level 2, Polygon's there. I think that it's just catching up to itself in terms of the traffic and popularity. But for now, gas fees are a part of the game. So do factor that into your budget. That's a really good call out, that there will be anywhere from $30 to $300 based on our combined experience. It sounds like you're seeing the same, Tara, that there'll be that kind of fee that takes place. And that fee doesn't go to the artist, just to make sure that it's clear. It's going to the person who is logging it into the blockchain ledger.
And they compete for that, right? Like it's hashing. Is that how it works?
They do. They can compete. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you buy things on the Polygon or Solana? I mean, I keep hearing, don't trust buying NFTs on anything other than OpenSea or with Ethereum, because they're the real communities. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's just too early for some of the others to know. OpenSea is the most trusted. Nifty and Foundation are kind of there as well, but that seems to be the most trusted. And look, this space is moving so quickly. Truly, to go back, and I said this last time, it took 85 years to get 100 million people to use a telephone. It took 15 years to get 100 million people to use the internet. It's only taken 5 years for Ethereum to get 100 million users. NFTs are right behind. In 8 to 10 months, we're going to have 100 million owners of NFTs, which means the platforms have to be more sophisticated. They're hiring like crazy. They're taking on capital and improving what they're doing and investing in easier user experiences. So I think in 6 months' time, this conversation is going to look really different again. Or less. In 6 weeks' time, it feels like it'll look different again. I know that we are at time and over, so thank you for being here. I would love to get some feedback on what next do you want to dive into? Every time we're peeling back a layer, what are the burning questions or areas that you want to go into next?
I'd love to walk through like different projects and see how you're thinking about like how to analyze a roadmap and the different different drops that they have planned and things like that. Because I think that's the hardest thing for me right now is just figuring out where to focus my attention and how to, frankly, like weed out like the BS from like real projects. Because I feel like there's a lot of rug pulls out there, and I'm super concerned about,
Yes.
not recognizing one of them.
Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to send everyone this recording. And if you have a project that you're curious about or are following or even own an NFT in, reply back and email me what that is. And I'll do some research and we'll pull that up in a group discussion. Anything else you guys would like to cover off on?
Michelle, it's Mariah. Is this your first presentation like this, or have there been previous ones? And if there are previous ones, can we get copies of this?
Absolutely. I will send you the first one. I'll just put the link to both of them. That's a good call out. I'll do the link to both in the follow-up email from today.
Thank you.
Of course. And I'm glad you could join, Mariah. It's good to hear your voice.
I am definitely starting at ground zero, so it is very interesting to learn and get up to date, and happy to have a great teacher like you.
Oh, my pleasure. I am excited to rally this awesome group of women. We should all know what's going on in the space. It is going to change our lives. It already is. We just haven't seen it yet. The end use is going to become more apparent very quickly.
Yeah.
Plus,
I
want to party with you all in Miami. Like, if these NFTs are getting us into parties, I want this next version to be on a rooftop overlooking the ocean with a cocktail in hand. Yes.
Definitely. And we got to talk like about kind of marketing. With Elizabeth and I, or Maz and I have been chatting about what we could do with our businesses. But, I also have an initiative that I've been thinking of. I'm not a designer, but at the same time, it's not difficult to make like certain NFTs, but how to go about connecting with other businesses to have that initiative. So case in point, let's say you're a wine drinker and you just have 1,000 different wines. You can put a different label on them or whatever you got to do to make it unique. But ultimately, if you can work with, say, we're in Temecula, so we're in wine country. So let's say you work with 5 different wineries and you have access to maybe a varietal that you can only get once a year, but you can get that first. Or, you have an opportunity to have a private event once a year or something like that in your name, things like that. I'm wondering, how can I start to market it to, let's just say those vineyards or the people. Like, how do I create this beyond starting a Discord, getting the buzz going, getting communities started, and then reach out to them? I know it's a big thing. I know, sorry.
I'm going to say, I love a marketing brainstorm and a marketing challenge. I would love to have a session where we could do a group think on so if we do one on like really going through roadmaps, best practices. I've got a couple of scam ones I can show you as well, to like show what a scam looks like, what some gold standards look like. Maybe as a follow-up to that, then it's a deep dive into, if you could build one yourself, what would that look like? A community project.
Yeah, we all got to try to make money while we sleep.
Let's get our avatars ready to go. Get them out there.
Well, thank you again for having these. These are great.
My pleasure. So it sounds like everyone's pretty interested to stick with NFTs, and we can keep diving into the NFT world. I will get some dates on the calendar, and I'm also figuring out, like, our little community is growing. If there's anyone else that you want to be a part of this, please feel free to either let them know or let me know, and I'm happy to bring them in. I'm also looking at some new guest speakers we could bring in as well. There's just so many interesting points of view, particularly from women who don't have a big voice, but have a lot of insight and a lot of deep networks here. So I'm connecting with them. And I like our little underground community. I was joking with somebody that I kind of call us the thugs. We are the ultimate girl group. So thug, double G. We can be the underground investors in NFTs and build our space in the metaverse.
There should be thug NFTs then, I feel like, and they can look like each of us or something. That'd be
Oh,
hilarious.
the original thug
There you go.
members.
Which is also kind of a brand from Australia, right? So there you go. You're Australia.
Oh, that's true.
Riff on Uggs. And
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
yes.
Thugs, right?
Oh, look at us. See, this is the kind of like teamwork and our brainstorm that I'm talking about. Yes.
Brilliant.
Oh, so good. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to the next one. Can I just get a quick consensus on, is this time kind of like, if you maybe just drop in the chat, as a time, is this good for you? Trying to coordinate East Coast, West Coast. I'm sorry to the Europe folks and Australia. Okay, cool. Plus I know a lot of us have kids too. So, I mean, the 30 seconds a day that you have spare, thank you for making it with us today. All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Well, thank you. I'm here if you need. I am an NFT buddy to anyone. If you're thinking of investing in something and just want a second set of eyes, please, you've got my email. You can send me the link or a screen grab and just be like, hey, does this look legit? If any platform is asking for your seed phrase and you think it's legit but don't know, ask me, ask someone, Google it. Do not give your seed phrase out freely before you like double, triple, quadruple check. You know, don't share it with me, but just, you know, happy to be a set of eyes if you're like, does this website sound like they should be asking me for this? So it takes a village.
Thank you, Michelle. This was
everyone.
great.
Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
My pleasure. Good to see you all.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.